So welcome all to Scribble Office Hours webinar. I think this is a very special session for me because officially the Office Hours webinar will begin on the new year. Hey, Dick. Yes.
All right.
So officially the Office Hours webinars will begin in the new year, but we are inviting some special guests so that you could get some feel for how the webinars is going to look. So welcome. Thanks for joining. It all happened very quickly, so apologies if you are going to listen to this recording and not joining us live. Welcome if you are listening later as well. So today, I have absolute pleasure to invite Dick. I know Dick for a long time, but if you don't know Dick, here I'll read out a quick bio about Dick. But we have Dick's podcast in our website, and Dick is fondly remembered as Wordman. So you could see him at the background, where you could see wearing his blue attire. It's so powerful. Ask him his strength and stuff later. But for now, Dick is aka Wordman, is our APMP professional fellow. He's been a past APMP chief executive officer, a recipient of William McRae Founders Award. As you know, less than 20 people have actually got it, and past chair of the California chapter and a proud member of the California chapter's mentor program. And Dick has presented Wordman sessions in APMP conferences 15 times. That's like every single conference in the past 15 years. So today you will have a preview of what he does if you are not going to BitCon. So Dick has also authored over 40 plus articles on Wordman's production corner in the APMP perspective, which used to be the APMP journal in the past. So in his 40 plus years, Dick has led or contributed to numerous proposals. So if you came back to this call 10 minutes ago, Dick mentioned that he actually did 8 proposals this week alone. So that's it. So we stopped talking about numbers. So Dick has done proposals in the USA, UK, Canada, Germany, Australia. And Dick has a bachelor's in electrical electronic engineering from University of Leeds in UK. So Dick is now a part of SMA as the vice president there. That's another thing that I'll mention. And between Scribble and SMA, we have a strategic alliance. It's more like a family. So very, very warm welcome to Dick, part of the family. And let Dick open up with few things. And this is an entire informal session. So Dick will share some of the tips and you can step in to ask some questions, and let's make sure that we make the best use of Dick's time. So welcome Dick to Scribble Office Hours webinar.
Thanks, Pascal. Thanks for that warm welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome wherever you are in the world. It's a nice, bright, sunny day here in Southern California. It's starting a nice day. So sun's coming up. It's 7:30 here in the morning. Okay, so you can see my screen, Pascal, I'm sharing, yes?
Yes, we can.
Excellent, okay. So Microsoft Word, yeah, so it's a passion of mine. I've been working with Word for, goodness me, a long time, since I first started doing proposals, actually, which is over 25 years ago. And, you know, it's a really complicated tool, right? So it looks easy, looks super easy to use. And I think that's the problem with a lot of Microsoft products. They make them really easy to use out of the gate. And you think, oh yeah, I know how to use Microsoft Word. And then you try and put a proposal together and you try and bring in graphics and text and make it look consistent and really attractive all the way through, and you start getting problems, and that's where I come in. So I've been solving people's Word problems for a long time. And some of the things I want to show you today are basic stuff that you can do to set Word up, basically, you know, before you start using it. And you can do this at any time, but let me move this screen out of the way, and we can all see my Microsoft Word screen, right?
Yep.
We can, good, okay. So just to get us warmed up, I'm gonna go through some things that I do. This is called the 5 things I do with Word, okay, before we even get going, before we even start creating templates and all those kind of good things. A lot of these are actually settings that are in Word, and they really are gonna actually help you. The first thing I do with a new computer is to set these things up. So we're going to go into the file and we're going to go to options here. And this is going to bring up our options dialog. This is in dark mode. Is that visible, Pascal, or should I go to light mode?
Yes, Dick, go for it.
It's all good? Okay. I prefer dark mode, but you know, it's a personal choice. So, okay, let's look at some of the settings that we can do here to actually help us with Word. One of the things that, you know, when we're working on a complicated document, could be a proposal, could be some sort of technical document, could be a report, whatever it might be, you're not the only person writing it, right? You're not the only person working on it. You've got lots of people who are providing content to you, whether it's text or graphics or whatever, and you're trying to pull it all together and make it look really nice, you know, with one complete sort of look all the way through, like it's been done by one person. Okay, so when we paste things into Word, what we want to do is bring stuff in as plain text, basically, and then we can apply our styles to it to make it look really nice. So one of the things we can do is, yeah, you can bring stuff in and you know, you can copy something and then just paste it in as plain text, or you can actually set the defaults in Word to do that for you. So let's look at configuring that up. And one of the things we're going to do here is go to the Advanced tab, and there's some really cool stuff under here, lots of things. And if you've never been into these dialogues and looked at some of the options, I do recommend it, because there might be some things in here that you look at and you go, So that's really how I started looking at these and figuring out that there were some options we could make that will make things better. So under the cut, copy and paste area here, there are some settings that allow you to change how things get pasted into Word. Okay, so if we're pasting within the same document, we've cut something, we're moving it around the document, we're shuffling our content, moving things around. And so we want to keep all the formatting. And so in this case, we're going to keep source formatting. That makes sense, right? The options, by the way, are keep source formatting, merge formatting, or keep text only. If we keep text only, we're going to lose the formatting. We have to apply it again. It's all within the same document. It should be safe. You should be good to go. Pasting between documents. So here's a problem. And I'm sure many of you have had this in the past. You've been working on something, you paste some stuff into the document, and then all of a sudden, you know, at some point later, the formatting goes a little awry, headings start moving around, bullets go crazy. You know, what's going on? What have you pasted in? Do you know what you pasted in? Do you really trust what you pasted in? Is it from one of your documents? Okay, that's fine. But is it from somebody else's document, and what have they done to it? Okay, what have they created? What have they set up? There's lots of things you can do in Word that can actually create what I'll call landmines that will explode on you later on when you're editing. And you know, I can show you one of those later on, one of the typical ones that happens. So in this case, because we don't trust other people, we are going to keep text only. What does that mean? It means that if there is formatting in terms of styles or different fonts or different bolding, underlining, all that sort of stuff, bullets, whatever, that all gets thrown away, okay? And you just bring in the text. And now you've got a lovely set of styles in your document, and you can just apply those styles so it looks the way you want it to look. There's a second one on here, which is pasting between documents when style definitions conflict. That's the third option here. This is obviously going to be keep text only. You know, this means that if somebody is you're bringing in text from a document, and that text is formatted with a style, let's say it's body text, say, and your body text style, you're using that style as well, but they have different definitions. Let's say you're using, gosh, I don't know, Times New Roman 12 point, they're using Calibri 11. There's going to be a conflict when you bring that text in. What's going to happen? Is it going to change your body text to Calibri 11, or is it going to preserve your body text as Times New Roman 12? We don't know. Should we take the risk? Probably not. So in this case, we're going to keep text only. We're going to apply our styles on top of that. And then the last option is pasting from other programs. So if we paste some text or something in from, let's say, PowerPoint or Excel or maybe a web page, do we want to bring in formatting? Probably not. So in this case, again, we're going to keep text only. Okay. There's another option here, which for some reason has gotten changed in mine, so I didn't remember leaving it like this. And that's when I insert or paste a picture in, how do I want it to come in? And one of the ways I recommend is you have that come in as in line with text. Okay. You can decide what you want to do with it afterwards, but bring it in line with text first. Now, there is one thing we need to keep on here, And that is this, it's set by default, but you want to make sure it's in there, which is show paste options button when content is pasted. Why do we want to do that? Because if I'm pasting a table in from another document, I want to be able to keep the table structure, the format, that the actual the cells, if you like. Let's say maybe that's got some merged cells, you know, it's all been laid out nicely, and the only thing you want to change is going to be the font and the coloring. You can bring that table in, keeping the structure but losing all the formatting, and to do that you're going to need this paste options button displayed, because when you first paste in the table, it's going to lose the table structure because we've decided we're going to paste it in as plain text. Okay, fine. But then when the paste option button appears, that's that little sort of pop-up at the bottom of the thing you just pasted in. You can click on that and select merge, and when you do that, you'll bring in the structure of the table but leave all the formatting behind. So that's a really, you know, really cool thing to do. Okay, so those are some basic options there that'll help us preserve our document. Like I said, we don't trust anybody else, we only trust ourselves. Okay, so we're going to bring that in. So that's one of the things I want to make sure you understand. Okay, so fine, all right, so that's preserved our pasting. What else can we do to Word to make sure that we don't screw things up? Okay, one of the things we all use is fields. What's a field? Field is something that is a code that you insert in the document, and Word turns it into something. Okay, all kinds of fields. So for example, what's the most common field that we use is actually, you'll use it, it's a page number. So if I go to the bottom of the page here, if I can, okay, and then let's say we go to edit the header, let's go down to the footer. Here's our footer, and then the first thing I'm going to do is insert a page number. It's a basic document, right? Here's a page, where do I want it to be? I'm going to put it in at the current position. What kind do I want? Just a basic plain number. Okay, what we have here is a field. All right, hopefully you can see that. There it is, that's the page number. Now, you'll notice that it's actually got a little bit of a grey background going on there. That is a setting that I have done, so I know that this particular piece of text is not something I've typed in. This is a field that Word has changed into the page number. And we can see what the field is. If we just right click on it and say toggle field codes, there's the code. So this code, page, merge format, converts into a page number. Okay, so that's just most common field you're ever going to use. If I just toggle this back, you can see it's now the page number. There are hundreds of different fields that you can use. If I have automatic heading numbering and I want to do a cross-reference to a heading, okay, that cross-reference is a field. If I put in a caption for a figure, that is a field. Cross-reference to that caption is also a field. Okay, so the worst thing that can happen, I'm just going to come out here, is let's say, for example, that you know, I want to have a figure in here. Figure 1 shows, to whatever figure 1 shows. Okay, now I'm going to put in a caption. My caption is just going to be basic, straightforward, figure 1, yeah, whatever it's going to be, a figure. Okay, so in it goes, and you can see here that here is figure 1. So figure 1 shows us this. Here is figure 1. Figure 1 is a field, and there's the field. It's a sequence of things called figures, and it uses Arabic style, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So this figure 1 shows. Now, let's say that we put in another figure. Okay, it's initially the same, but let me just update this. That's now figure 2. This is the great thing about using automatic figure numbering. Of course, when we insert one and refresh the fields, everything works. But this, of course, was referring to this figure, wasn't it? So now this is wrong. Okay, and so we've got a reference, a call out in the text, which is referring to the wrong figure. Okay, So let's just get rid of that. And we'll update that. It's now figure 1 again. What I can do here is put in a cross-reference. And what are we going to cross-reference to? We're going to cross-reference to a figure. There it is. That's the one we want. We only want the label and the number. And now figure 1 shows. Now you will see that these are both shaded. So that tells me they're fields. Before we go any further, how did I do that? I went to File, Options, Advanced, and I scroll down to Show Document Content, this area here. Now by default, field shading will be set to when selected, but I want you to change it to always. So now this will always show with a grey background. It doesn't print, obviously, but it does show you that this is correct. So now if we insert another figure in front of this, okay, and then let's just refresh the field here. This now becomes figure 2. And if I refresh this field, that becomes figure 2. So I can add in figures, move things around, whatever, refresh all the fields. I mean, if you just select everything, Control A and press F9, that refreshes all the fields. That's another quick way of doing it. So now we've got, we know things that are automatic are going to get updated. We're not going to have things that are wrong. Of course, having automatic figure numbering makes it easy to do a table of figures if you need a table of figures. But by shading it, you know that this is the correct figure reference. Okay. So, if for any reason somebody types over this, which does happen because you sent it out for review. Okay. Now, if another figure goes in here or this figure goes away, this is now wrong because this is hard text. Somebody typed that in. And you're going to have to go back and insert the cross-reference again. Okay. So having your fields shaded is a really good idea because if you're using all of these features like automatic figure numbering, automatic cross-referencing, which I use all the time, super easy, super reliable, very easy to use. This will show you if somebody accidentally typed over, or not even accidentally, maybe unaware that they typed over this. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. Another thing that is super annoying about Word, and one of the things that I always do is create some very good styles for my documents. I'd like to create my own bullet styles. Okay, so I don't come up here and just hit give me a bullet because that's easy, right? You can say give me a bullet. There we go. You'll see what it does. But Word actually tries to help. So a lot of cases, if you hit an asterisk and then a tab and start typing, then Word will go, oh, you wanted a bulleted list, right? You'll notice in mine it doesn't because I actually have styles in my templates that define how I want my bulleted list to look. I don't just go up here and use this, okay? Because that's what Word would do if I didn't have this setting. So I can actually stop Word helping. Sometimes Word helps, it's very good. A lot of times it actually does things we don't want it to do. And again, this is under File Options. Okay, so I'm going to go to File Options. Now, how do I stop Word helping and doing these things for me? It's not super obvious where this is. It's actually under Proofing. Okay, and then you'll see here there's this thing, change how Word corrects and formats text as you type. So this is an autocorrect option. So let's bring up our autocorrect option dialog, easy for me to say. Okay, auto format as you type. So basically, as I'm typing, Word is going, oh, okay, he wanted a bulleted list, or he wanted a numbered list, or whatever. And that's all in this middle section here. So basically, I'm going to turn all of those off. I'm going to uncheck all those boxes. I do not want Word helping. Don't want any of this, okay? The things I'm going to keep are straight quotes with smart quotes. So you get your, 6699 type quotes, okay? Fractions with a fraction character, that's pretty straightforward. If you're doing electronic proposal submissions or documents that are going to be evaluated electronically, even if they're PDFs, you want to keep things like internet paths, URLs, email addresses, things like that as actual hyperlinks. That's convenient, right? So Word will do that for you. It'll recognize those, and you know that. You can also do a double hyphen. It'll convert it into a dash and things like that. Okay, so I keep those. I turn everything else off. This will stop Word trying to help. We really don't want Word helping. The worst one you could ever have, by the way, is this bottom one, which they don't check by default. Never check this, ever. Which is define styles based on your formatting. If you've ever opened a document up and there are 1,000 styles in it, and they all look like they're the same with small variations, this is because somebody had this turned on. And basically, every time you did something slightly different, it created a new style. Seriously, silly idea. I don't know why they even put that in there. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So now we're not going to have Word helping us as we go along. Okay, there are some other things, by the way, under autocorrect that can help you. And here under autocorrect, you'll see that, for example, one of the options is 2 initial capitals. Now, I'm sure I'm not alone in that sometimes when I'm typing, you know, one of my little finger or something is on the shift key, and I start typing initial something's name or whatever, and my little finger's a bit late to get off the shift key, and you end up with 2 initial capitals. It happens, right? And so Word does that for you. It sorts it out and says, oh, you don't really want 2 initial caps. Let's fix that. However, there are cases when you do. Okay, so we can actually set up exceptions for that, and we can come in here and say, well, what are the things that I actually want initial caps for? So let's go to our initial caps tab. Now, as Bhaskar said, my degree, which is an awfully long time ago, is in electrical and electronic engineering, but I actually specialized in radio communications. And so, you know, as a radio communications engineer, I'm dealing with frequency, which is in hertz. And so we have kilohertz and megahertz and gigahertz and all those kind of things. And it's all of the SI system of units. And so we have things like megahertz, which is capital M, capital H, little z or Z, depending on where you're from. And obviously that's something that's real, and that's a valid, you know, 2 initial caps kind of word, right? So those are the things that I put that in here as an exception. You can also have things like IDs, if you're dealing with, you know, an ID thing, anything like that that is basically a 2-letter acronym that's going to have a plural. You can set it up here as a don't correct. Okay, so that's one of the things you can do. That's actually one of the best things in here, is to do that. All right. What else can we do here? While we're here, by the way, not in this, but while we're here in the change how Word corrects and formats your text, one of the things people use add-ins like Grammarly and stuff like this to help you write good English or whatever your language may be. Grammarly, I think, has multiple languages that work with that. So great. So you spend a lot of money and you buy your license for Grammarly and you put it in, and you know it helps you write. You know what? Word can actually help you write without buying another add-in. So when we go down here under this when correcting spelling and grammar in Word options here at the bottom, check spelling as you type. Yes, obviously. Mark grammar errors as you type. You know, check grammar and spelling. But the writing style here is something that most people don't set up, and I recommend you do this. So let's go into this, and there's 2 options: grammar, which is the default, and grammar and refinements, which is what I want you to select. Now, depending on the version of Word you're using, and I'm using Office 365 or Microsoft 365, it is now. It's not even Office 365. Which is one of those versions of Word. It gets down, updates get downloaded automatically from the web, and things change a lot actually. Every so often I come in here and go, oh, that's new, where did that come from? And it's an update to Word. So that's always a nice adventure game every day. Has Word changed? Is there a new feature in here that I can take advantage of? But this used to be grammar and style. It is what it is, and you may have a version of Word that says grammar and style. In mine it's grammar and refinements, but it does change. Then click on settings, you get another dialog. Okay, this dialog again is different depending on which version of Word you have. Okay, so but you'll see here that this will actually check all kinds of stuff that things like Grammarly do, okay? So, you know, a comma missing after an introductory phrase. So if you type therefore, it wants you to put a comma after it, basic rules of English. And there's look how many there are. This is incredible that Word will actually help you do all of this thing, okay? Spacing is something that's not checked for some reason. Passive voice, okay. Very important. We write proposals, and best practice says that when we write proposals, we want to write in a particular style. We're going to write in an active voice, okay. You know, whatever. You know, Dick updates Word settings, as opposed to, you know, Word settings are updated. We don't know who did it or who's going to do it. So we write in an active voice, you know, whatever. And now you can get Word to tell you this is passive, and it'll underline it, and it'll, I think they're actually coming up with a version soon that will actually tell you exactly how to, you know, this is, you should redo it like this. You select it, it's done. Okay. All kinds of things here. Split infinitives. This will stop you typing, you know, the Star Trek logo to boldly go, because then you'll have to put to go boldly. Okay. The world's most famous split infinitive, to boldly go. Anyway, so scroll down here, and there's some at the bottom which are kind of cool. The Oxford comma, which is that comma before an and at the end of the list. That's up to you, really, if you use that or not. Some people don't like it. I do, but anyway. Punctuation required within quotes. You can select inside or outside, or don't check. I like inside, so that means that if you have something at the end of a sentence that's quoted, it would be full stop quotes as opposed to quotes full stop or period if you're on my side of the Atlantic. And of course, spaces between sentences. This is super good. Okay, we only have one space at the end of a sentence before the next sentence. We don't have two anymore. For those of you that are old and crusty like me, we might have started off doing two. We don't need to do that anymore. Back in the day when we only had fixed width fonts like Courier, and that's all our printers knew how to do, then maybe you did need two spaces, because otherwise you could lose the end of the sentences, where every character is exactly the same width, whether it was an I or an M, they're all the same width. Now with modern fonts like Times New Roman and all of these proportionally spaced fonts that you get on your computer, you don't need to do that. Okay. Why is it important? It's important if you're working on a proposal and you only have a certain number of pages left to respond. Okay, excuse me. Having double spaces at the end of a sentence will actually consume a lot of space, white space. So you don't need it. You can actually get rid of that. It's just as readable, it makes no difference. And I recommend you do that. It's certainly one of the things I do. In fact, the first stuff I do whenever I get something from somebody to incorporate into one of my proposals is I do a search and replace for two spaces with one, and keep doing it until there's no answers. And that way you've got rid of all of the extraneous spaces. You don't need those, okay? The other thing Word will help you do, this is relatively new, you may not have this, this is to help you with your resume, this kind of thing, okay? Avoid first person references. Actually, we want to leave that unchecked because, again, with proposal best practices, we're writing in not just active voice, we're going to write in first person. Okay, so we do this, you do that, as opposed to third person all the time. So I want to leave that unchecked. Okay, but we can also get rid of this can be a little annoying, cliches, vague adjectives, things like that. You know, so I was typing the other day that the company I work for, SMA, has been in business for nearly 40 years. It's actually 38 years, but that sounds a bit kind of awkward in the sentence, so I put nearly 40 years. And because I had easy for me to say, vague adjectives checked, you know, it underlined the nearly and said take that out because that's a vague adjective. So sometimes that can be a plus or a minus. You can decide whether you want to leave those checked or unchecked. Excuse me, dry throat this morning. Okay, things you can do with grammar. So yeah, those are some of the settings that I always do with Word before we get going. And
Dick, I think that's amazing, Dick. I think my head is already heated up.
Well, I actually have that on if anybody wants it, I'll be putting up my email address later and stuff. So I actually have this as a convenient little 3-page PDF on things you need to do to Word, the 5 things. And like I said, it's applicable across pretty much all versions. Hopefully most of you are using at least Word 2016. You know, Word, for God's sake, don't be using Word 2010 and older versions, because they're not supported anymore. I know sometimes our customers might ask for, you know, oh, it has to be compatible with Word 2010. Well, that's fine. You can still do that. You just don't need to use Word 2010. Okay. Word 2013 is now, but let's face it, it's nearly 8 years old because it came out in 2012. So if you are, you know, still using very old versions of Word, I recommend if you're on your own, if you're a you know, sole proprietor or a consultant or whatever, if you haven't got it already, get a Microsoft 365 license. You can get some pretty cheap ones, you know, and that'll give you the same features I have here. If your company has yet to move on, then I understand that, you know, corporate IT takes a while to, it's like turning around an oil tanker, right? It takes a while to actually do that. So, you know, you may be stuck with it until they update, but my company updated to 365 and it's been great. So so those are the basic things, and you know, like I said, I'll put my email up at the end, and you can email me, and I'm more than happy to send you that little PDF. So
thank you, Dick. That's brilliant. Dick, just before we move into any other things, Dick, I think what Dick covered here is a basic setup of what to do on a Microsoft Word. That's the first thing. Second one is fields, and the third one is autocorrect, how to stop Word helping you. Do you have any questions? If you have, please do drop in the chat box so that Dick can answer. In the meantime, Dick, I received a question, and let me ask you that question. It's from Shelly Harris. So I have forgotten how to use the shortcut for saying click here and it takes to the person to the internet site.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So how do you put in well, okay. So let's get rid of this here. Let's delete this. Okay. So we know that if we put in a URL, okay, my URL, wordmanspeaks.com. But because of the settings you just saw, you know that Word turns that into an internet link, okay? But maybe if I say, that's what we're talking about, right? I want this here to be the internet. So let me just copy this link, and I've got it in my clipboard now. And then basically I do that, and the magic shortcut key that you can't remember is Control K. Okay, so Control K, and we put our thing in here, wordmanspeaks.com. Pop, and there we go. That's it. That'll take somebody to that. So Control K. And you know, Control K is actually one of those things that it's actually not unique to Word. Control K works in pretty much every single Microsoft project program. It works, for example, if you are like me, you have a website that's in WordPress, and you want to put a link into an article you're working on. Control K will bring up the little pop-up in WordPress to put in the internet connection, the URL rather. It works pretty much everywhere. It works in all Office apps. So Control K, yeah. The only thing that Control K, I think, is in Outlook when you are resolving email addresses. So if you have your cursor in the address bar in Outlook and you hit Control K, it'll actually resolve email addresses to get them from your contacts. But that's otherwise Control K does exactly this. Okay. And there are options. Obviously, I can go here and just go to edit hyperlink. I can link to another place in the document. I put a hyperlink in. There are other ways of moving around documents, but this is one way of doing it. Okay. Or I can put in an email address, that kind of thing. So.
Thank you, Dick. I think, yes, thank you, Shelly. Thanks for sharing. Shelly says, thank you, Dick. So that's great. And few more questions. Please do have the questions coming along. Any Word questions, this is the right time, but I will ask one more question, Dick. This is from Shubhada. At times, Word wouldn't accept or retain the formatting changes, especially with lengthy documents. Did you ever experience this? How do we manage this?
That's a good question. Let's see. So, I've opened the Q&A window here so I can see what you've said. Retain the formatting changes. One of the problems with this kind of thing is understanding, well, why didn't it retain the formatting changes? And I have to guess because obviously I don't see your document. But let me hazard a guess. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to open a document based on a new template on one of my templates. Okay. So here are my templates. I am going to open one. Here's Wordman Speaks. So this is a new document. This is a Wordman Speaks document, and you can see I've got my header and footers and things in here. Okay. So let's say you make some changes. Let's say that I change heading 1 now. I'm going to modify the heading 1 style. And I actually want this to be, oh gosh, I don't know. How about Tahoma? That's always that's a pretty font. Okay, so now heading 1 is Tahoma. All right, looks okay. One of the things that can happen, and also this happens, let's say, for example, that, I had automatic heading numbering, and I don't in this particular template, but let's say I had automatic heading numbering, and that, I wanted this document to start at number 3, section 3, as opposed to section 1. I can right click on it, say start from 3, and it's good. And then next time I open it up, it's gone back to 1 again. Why did it do that? So let me hazard a guess as to what your problem might be. It may not be this, but this is the one thing that would do exactly what you're saying. Every document in Word is based on a template. Okay, even a blank document is based on the magical normal .x template, and we can see what template it's based on. The easiest way is if we go to File, we go to Properties, and then click on Advanced Properties here. You'll see that in fact this document is based on the Wordman Speaks .x template. Okay, a blank document will be based on normal.x. Right, so every document is based on a template. What does that mean? It means that I've got a template I've created that's got styles and headers and footers and page layout and that kind of thing. And I base a document on that template, and it basically makes a clone of that template, and there's now a document. But there is always this link, this umbilical cord that goes from the document back to its template. And this is a good thing. In many respects, there's lots of things you can do with that. We don't have time to get into it here, but one of the things it does, like I said, when it creates a clone, it gets a snapshot of all of the styles that are in that template and brings them over to the document. So all of these styles here, these are in my document. So what happens if I go, you know what, I messed up here. I really want to go back to whatever the original style was for heading 1. How can I do that? I know that this is connected to Wordman Speaks .x template. So the easy way to do it is to, reconnect it and resync it with the template. And this may be what's happening with your document. So how can I check that? Let's go. We're going to have the developer tab. You see the developer tab up here? By default, that's not going to be there. So how do I get the developer tab? A couple of ways of doing it. There's always like 2 or 3 ways in Word of doing everything. But if I click on here, okay, and again go to more commands, this will bring up the Word options again, but with here, go to customize ribbon. And then, so here we are on customize ribbon. You can also go to file options, obviously customize ribbon, that's the other way of doing it. But when you come over here, you'll see that your developer tab is going to be unchecked. That's the default. So check that, and then all of a sudden you're going to have this developer tab. Here's the developer tab. Okay. This is for those of us that like writing macros and putting in content controls and all those kind of cool things in Word that really make Word sing, really. But one of the things up here, look, the document template. See this? So I click on here and you'll see that actually this is based on, here's the template. Here's where it lives in this magic app data roaming Microsoft templates folder. There it is, wordmanspeaks.x. Now I can actually attach any template that's in that folder to this document. Okay, that's one way of doing it. But you'll notice here, here's the thing, automatically update document styles. If this is checked, every time I open the document, it is going to go and get the styles from the template. So let's say that, you know, I've changed my heading 1, in this case, to Homer. Or maybe I've got something and I've set start this document at section 3. Okay. Every time I open it, it's going to go back to the template, grab the set of styles, bring them into my document and overwrite the styles that are there. What that means is that it's always going to have heading 1. It's always going to be in, you know, the Arial font, the Arial bold this is. Okay. So even whatever I set it to, it's going to come back. Okay. Likewise, if I've said start at section 3, it's going to now start at section 1 again. And you go, well, what's going on? Well, because basically never, ever, ever leave this checked. This has a purpose. In this case, let's say I wanted to get this back to the style originally. I can hit OK, and it puts it back to Calibri 12, which is how it started. Okay. But if I now change this and save it and then open it again, it's going to go back to Calibri 12 because this. So you do this once if you need to clean up your styles, and sometimes, you know, maybe you've sent a document around and 6 people have all got into it. Okay. And you know, it looks a mess. You know, the styles are all messed up. So basically you can come in here and say, update all the styles, go get me a fresh set of styles, bring it into the document, clean it all up. Okay. And then once you've done that, go back into this dialog, uncheck it and hit OK. Now, the next time you open it, it won't automatically refresh the styles again. I don't know if that's what's happening with you, but that is a problem.
Thanks, Dick. That was useful. Dick, there is a point here. When working from Shifali, she has 2 questions. I think it's a nice follow-up. When working, when working on an online document, say 200 plus pages, where you have multiple contributors, any best practice that you suggest for document management?
Oh, that's tricky. Yeah, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I am not a fan of online editing. It's not something I think that there's too many opportunities for it to all go wrong. And yeah, maybe it's an attractive idea to get everybody editing the same document, but doesn't it sound like fraught with danger? It's not how we work. It's not how most of the proposal centers that I've dealt with would work. You know, we would by all means keep the documents online, keep them in SharePoint, in Teams, whatever you want to do. But to have multiple people going in and editing, I just think that's kind of fraught for danger. At the end of the day, you need to submit a proposal or a technical document, whatever it may be, that looks like it's been done by one person. And at the end of the day, one person is going to have to go through and make sure all the formatting is consistent. So yeah, I mean, have people editing online, that's fine. But at some point at the end, I seriously recommend that, you know, there is a what we would call a pens down. Back in the old days, right? Stop writing, stop changing, and that document is taken away or it's locked and people's access is taken away from it. And then somebody cleans it up. You know, if you're doing a proposal, for example, then you're looking at, you know, best practice is to have develop and review, develop, review, develop, review. Okay. So, you know, what you might call different, but what we call a pink team, which is where basically you've just got a very empty draft of the document. It's got some bullets in, some pictures and things. You know, that's fine. People keep editing. But then when you get to that first full review of the document, what most people call a red team, where the authors and contributors have to stop writing. Somebody has to clean it all up, make it look like this is the final proposal, okay? And then, you know, that's what the red team actually reviews, and they put comments on it and whatever. The very worst thing that can happen after that is that you go, okay, well, we've had the review and all these comments need to be incorporated. Everybody dive in, have at, and do that thing, okay? And then basically that means that you've got to do it all over again, because one person has to have control of that document before it is submitted. One person has to go through and make sure all of the formatting is correct and all of the graphics line up and all the figure references are correct and that kind of thing. You can't rely on having, you know, lots and lots and lots of contributors getting that right. It's not going to happen. One person has to take control of it at the end. So that would be my best practice. Yeah, sure. While people are putting in text and graphics, have at, you know, everybody just dive in, do whatever you need to do in your section. But at the end of the day, somebody has to say, okay, guys, that's it. Stop. Nobody else has access to that. I'm going to take it away. I'm going to clean it all up. And then this is the final document. And then you have to manage how changes are done to that to make sure that you don't have to do it all over again, because you just don't have time for that.
Perfectly. Just on that, assume, I know you're not a big fan of online document. It just gives us a lot of headache, but assume we do have, because when you're on multiple geographies, etc. Can you highlight, this is from Sunil, can you highlight as to how we can avoid these conflicting changes while multiple people are working on the online version of the document?
Well, I would say it's awkward, but I would say track changes, because then at least you can see who's done what, and decide, you know, who made that change, even if you don't have track changes visible while you're actually working, because that can be a little distracting at times. You can set your, you can come up here to your review, and you can set to basically say no markup. Okay, hopefully you can see my little drop down here, and then you can just type away and do whatever. Yeah, I'm not a, I'll be honest with you, most of my experience is with the desktop version of Word. Okay, so you know, if you're working with a document through a OneDrive or something and other people are in it at the same time, then yeah, it's like the Wild West. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, really. It doesn't seem the best way to actually manage a proposal where you've actually got, you know, you've got a structure to the document, and you know, sometimes it's just as easy to say, work in your own document, and when you're done, I'll take your content and paste it into the master. But yeah, people have to find their own way of working.
Thanks, Dick. I think that makes sense. I think considering for the very first half of the conversation, you focused on automation, and you have also have flexibility, or, you know, the right approach where what could you automate, which is the right thing, and what do you want to do it manually, which is what you're currently have tried. You know what, initially maybe dump everything in online document, but after that take back control and do it in the old way, which is the traditional way. That's great. Any more questions for Dick? Please do fire on. We are in the last 5-10 minutes here. Last question for now from here is Shefali again. Thanks, Shefali. It's like, when the formatting keeps getting corrupted, the sync issue lead to text overwriting. How can we prevent it?
Again, you know, obviously I need to see your document to tell you what's happened, but let me give you a couple of examples of how formatting gets corrupted. Okay, and so one of the most common ones, in fact, I need to go to a different another template here that's actually got some of the styles in I need. So bear with me. I'm going to use this one. Okay, so this is a template that I've created for SMA, which is the company that gives me my day job. Okay, so you'll see here that we have some automatically numbered headings. Okay, these are automatically numbered the way I've set these up, and so there's a couple of things here. If I create a bullet, okay, I can do the bullet like this, or I can actually use my bullet style. So I've created a bullet style that has the right, you know, the right bullets for me. These are the way I want them to look. And this is some text here. Okay. Okay, one of the things that I see people doing is, you know, how do I, oh, I need more room. Well, let's make this a numbered list. There we go, that's easier, isn't it? Here's a numbered list. And let's say I get to a big number, 2 digits, right? I've got a really long list. Now there's not enough room here between the number and where the text starts. So I'm going to adjust this. And what people will do is I'll do 2 ways. They'll either come up here and do this. They'll go up to the ruler and they'll drag. I won't do that. They'll do this. There we go. Okay. All right. So that's one way of doing it, they think. Another way of doing it is go to the paragraph thing here, and you'll see that I have a hanging indent of 1/2 inch. Maybe I can change that. Oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Well, that's when people get frustrated. Oh, there it is. Right. Now, here's the problem. My style, okay, defines my list as that. I've modified the style. Who wins? Okay. So if you're editing and then all of a sudden, you know, all of your bullets move to the middle of the page, it's because of this thing. The only way to change the indents on this style is to right click. Well, of course you have to have not a typo and adjust list indents. That's the only way that you can change that. The same is true of automatic heading numbering. If I wanted to have, if I'd use tabs in here, I would have to come up here and change the alignment here. That's why I always use a space, because then I don't have to worry about it. But I've seen this happen where people use a tab and they go, oh, the level 1 heading here is going to start off 1/2 inch over, okay, or maybe whatever it is, and then the numbers get big and all of a sudden there's not enough room, and they go in and manually do it on that particular heading. It's bound to have a problem because you've now overwritten something. Let me explain. Okay, when I apply normal paragraph formatting, I have this indentation section here where I can set the left and right indentation. I can have a hanging indent, first line indent. Okay, we know all that. That's really how we set up a basic paragraph style. When, however, I create a bullet style or I add a bullet to a line, what happens is I go and get a bullet from this gallery of bullets and apply it to that style. This gallery of bullets has its own indents. So I've now got 2 things. I've got the paragraph style, which has indents, and I've got the gallery, the numbering gallery, or the bullet gallery, or whatever it is, that has indents. When you apply automatic heading numbering to your headings, or you apply bullets to a bullet stock to a paragraph, the indents from that bullet get applied to the paragraph, which is, so for example here, if I go in here, you'll see there's no indents. Okay, if I make this a list and then I go in, there's the hanging indent by 0.2 of an inch. So what's happened is the indents from the numbering gallery have been copied over into the paragraph. All right, got that. Now I come in here and go, you know what, I really wanted this to be bigger. Oh, I wanted this to be bigger, okay? So what I've done is I've gone into here and changed it here, or I've changed it on the ruler, and I've changed the indent, haven't I? No. What you've done is you've changed the indent for this particular thing. However, the style and the numbering gallery or the bullet gallery has its own indents. It only goes one way. So it only goes from the numbering or bullet gallery into the paragraph. It doesn't go back. So again, the only way to change it is to adjust list indents. This is why you may be editing a document and you're there and it's a big long document and everything's really good, and all of a sudden all the level 3 headings move to the middle of the page, all the bullets go crazy and they indent and whatever. And this is a conflict. This is a sync conflict between the paragraph style and the numbering or list gallery that you've applied to it. It only flows one way into the paragraph. It does not flow back. So once you have done this, never, ever, 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 ever touch this, because it will create automatic correct conflict. So that is one thing I've seen. Formatting being corrupted, again, it's so hard to say what the problem is. What I did at the beginning, talking about paste special and apply your styles, this is one of the things you can do to stop that from happening. Okay, so if you've got a document and it's been edited by 20 people and everybody's had a go at it and added their stuff in and pasted and copied and whatever they've done, right, done their own formatting, whether they've used the styles or not, at the end of the day, when you get that back, it could be a minefield. It could be a landmine field of problems waiting to happen. The easiest thing to do, and this sounds counterintuitive, it sounds like, oh my gosh, that's so much work. The easiest thing to do is actually to get the content from that document, paste it into a clean, empty document based on your template. Okay, paste it without formatting, just get the content, just the text, and then apply your styles. Okay, bring in the graphics correctly, bring in the tables, as I mentioned, merge those in, apply your table styles, clean them up. The reason I say that is now you trust everything you've got in that document. And if your styles are set up correctly, you're not going to have any problems. So it sounds like it's a long time. I'll give you a quick story. Somebody I was helping, who I drilled this into, who started doing it, had no problems at all, had perfectly good documents, never had any formatting issues. And then one day, a VP said, well, just throw this appendix in at the back. Okay, well, I'll have to just apply, bring this in, copy it, apply my, no time for that. Just throw the appendix in, we'll be fine. And she threw the appendix in and does as she was told and got it going. And just as she was finished, all of a sudden, the formatting went crazy because there was something in that content of that appendix which was causing a conflict with something in her document, and it went crazy and she had to rebuild the document. So it would have saved her time to have done what I told her to do, which is to bring in the content as plain text and apply the styles and formatting. At least then she would trust it. And I think if we've got a lesson, never trust anyone else when it's your document. Okay.
Thank you, Dick. That was amazing, Dick. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for all the questions. Dick, I think, what you gave us is just a teaser of what we can do. And, I'm sure even though you kind of shared that the first 25, 30 minutes, I think there is at least 20, 25 things that, colleagues could have applied that in their thing, and all the Q&A was really helpful, Dick. I think show us, Dick, you also made your own website, Dick, with all the softwares and tools, etc. Maybe if you could.
So this is, if you want to learn more about me, just go to wordmanspeaks.com. Okay, it's wordmanspeaks.com. If you can learn about Wordman there. If you want to contact me, go to the contact us form and just fill it in, or email me at wordmanspeaks.com. We also have a newsletter, so again, there's a subscribe for updates. You'll see the thing will pop up anyway when you go to the site. I also have some software add-ins. This up to you. You can take a look at them. There's an acronym generator. There's a highlighter tool. There's some cool things in there that may help you. They're all based on real-life experience of me as a proposal manager, working with clients and finding problems and going, you know what, I could write a piece of software to make this a lot easier. So there's some add-ins there. We also do in-house training. So if your company would like, these days it's all through webinar, a 3 or 4 hour workshop, and we can go into some really, really good detailed advanced Word stuff, then again, contact me, let me know. If you do want any of the software, for everybody who's on this call, you can get 5% off anything you buy in the store just by using the checkout code Wordman Scribbles. So put that in, and you can get 5% off. And so the add-ins are super cheap. They will save you time. It's you know, they'll save you a lot of time. That's the way they're written. Anyway, up to you. You don't have to go in there. So just check it out, and if you need anything from Wordman, let me know.
Perfect, Dick. I think, Dick, as you know, guys, this is just a teaser session. So the positive news or good news is for colleagues who are staying so long. Thank you for staying, and Dick will be back next year. And if there is enough interest, we might have a monthly Wordman session. So Dick might come and share, like, you know, a couple of things. I think anything more will heat our brain up, and I don't think you will take any action. And so it's important for you, you know, come on, you know, Dick will share. It won't be for 1 hour, it might be 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 15 minutes. And you'll just come on 2 tips a month, and then any Q&A, and then we can go. And then at some point, Dick might have a much wider 4 hours, 5 hours workshop. Imagine Dick running a Word workshop in APMP conference for all day. And, you know, I'm sure the brain will be roasted at the same time. You might be wondering, how do I actually know Word? I've been doing proposals for 20 odd years or 30 odd years, but I haven't known this at all. So pleased to have Word, pleased to have Dick here, and thank you for joining, Dick. And just as a final one, you know, just as a final fun thing, in the chat box, since you are late now, the last few people who are staying here, just 2 fun questions. Number 1, what is the shortcut key that Dick told us for having the hyperlink? And the second one is, what is the menu that Dick created that to adjust some of the mention? Whoever says first, second, third, you can contact us, and we will unlock the Jumpstart workshop, which comes with its own course templates, and you could download it as well. So first 3, I will have a look, and I will announce who the winners are. But yes, the very first one is Shubhada. So Shubhada, Jenny, Pushka, you get the Jumpstart workshop. And then the next question is, as I mentioned, what is the menu item that they created that is not part of the Microsoft Word in the menu, but he created so that he could control a much wider thing. So what was the menu item? Let's see.
Harley got in there straight away.
Who the first 3 are. Okay, so that's it. So this time it was Shifali, and then you have Jenny, and then we have Pushka. Guys, leave it with me. You will have a note from me saying what Jumpstart workshop. There are 12 courses there, and each retails at £30, but you could have tools, templates, courses that comes with it. You can have it. And Wordman will be back in the new year for us, and then we'll continue to have this. So thank you, Dick. Thanks for joining, and thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for hosting me back. It's been fun. Thanks everyone. Thanks for coming. Have a great day.